Okay, so now we have the awesome Cameron Smith. I mean, he's just going so well at the moment. Um, so we're going to analyze Cameron's setup and also his full swing. So, all right, so let's have a look at his setup first. So we can see here that some of the past videos like Rory, Max Homer, we would often see that the hand position would be actually further away. Cameron has his hands actually quite close to his body right here. So it's quite close there. So he does have his hands quite close. Tiger Woods also has his hands quite close. All right. So again, really good spine angle. He's got his head on the same angle as his spine. Okay, that's what you see all really good players do. All right. Now, let's start taking the club back here. So it's hard to know what he's aiming for because I don't really have the kind of right behind angle, but let's keep it going. So you can see it's a very one-piece takeaway. What you should really see in a really good takeaway is that the club head should move first. So that means the upper half moves first, followed by the lower half, okay? So it should never move exactly the same time. The upper half should initiate, followed by the lower half, okay? So as he takes the club back, okay, so the upper half initiates and then the left tip goes. And it's very, very much a one piece. So everything's kind of moving together. All right. Okay, so let me just analyze his hand position. So again, I don't really have exactly behind here. So I'm just going to make sure we get the right reading. So the distance from his hands to his body. Okay, so let's just keep taking the club back. So he does actually push his hands a little bit away from his body there. Okay, so he does increase the distance from his hands to his body. So then we get to the first position. Okay, first position is about here. All right, so if we have a look at the angle from his club face angle and his spine, again, we talked about before that they're always trying to match the angle with the club head to the spine at this position. So you can see it's pretty much the same. It could be just a little bit closed here. All right, so now we're going to get to the top of his swing. So already, if you've seen my past videos, very, very common first positions. So you can already see that the first position, how important it is. That's why when you come to a golf lesson of mine, you'll see that I really talk about that first position of the golf swing. They're trying to keep the club head basically in line with the hands or slightly ahead of the hands at the first position of the golf swing. Okay, so Cameron's a little bit ahead. So then we get to the top of his swing. All right. Okay, so interesting thing to note here is that his left arm is actually very close to his neckline there, okay? So he has a pretty steep left arm there. You'll see a lot of the other tour pros, their left arm is kind of more behind them at this point. So his left arm is quite steep. It's going right through his neck. Now when I get to the top, now interesting thing to note here what Cameron does is that Cameron's club face is quite closed at the top of his swing. So his face angle there. Now, we said before, and this is basically because his left arm is quite steep here, rather than his left arm kind of being more around his body, he brings his left arm up quite high. And what tends to happen here is it kind of makes the club face close up a little bit. Okay, so his club face is quite closed at the top. And whenever it gets closed at the top like this, what Cameron typically does, let's just go back a little bit. So let's come back again here. All right, so he gets to the top, gets up, he brings the left arm really close to his neckline. All right, and now you see that the actual shaft, this is what we call a little bit of a cross the line position. So with Cameron's cross the line position, so cross the line basically means that the shaft points over to the right of where the target is, okay? So if you can see here, we just backtrack a little bit. So the shaft comes up there. So that would really be more of a neutral shaft position there. But as he keeps going, the shaft points the other way. Okay, so this is what we call like a cross align position. His club face is closed here. All right, so let's just see what happens on the way down. So I'm going to draw a line here, like this. Okay, so it's quite a steep position here. So now let's see what he does. So as he comes back down, he comes down pretty steep here. Okay, so someone who crosses a line at the top typically will have a fairly shallow downswing, but Cameron doesn't. He kind of tries, because he knows he comes across a line a little bit at the top of his swing, he's trying to fix that by coming more over it on the way down. Okay, so over it meaning that as we come down here, the shaft is actually quite a long way from his right elbow. So it's quite a long way. That's the longest one we've seen so far. So we've seen Max Homa. Rory was the flattest one, which made sense because Rory draws the ball. Max Homa was a little bit above the right elbow. But Cameron, you can see here, because he crosses a line at the top of his swing, he then tries to rotate his body through and swing him a little bit more over it. I don't say over the top, but a little bit steeper on the way down. Okay, so there's the shaft. So it's pretty steep here. So it stays above the right elbow. Okay, so this position here, we can see that the club head's here and the hands are here. So basically Cameron's really trying to fade the ball. Okay, so he's got to cross a line. And I'd say with Cameron, what we've seen, and he's really fixed us up a lot too, but under pressure, we've seen that when he gets really tired, when he gets a bit cross the line, he kind of gets that kind of pull hook going. And it's because he gets a bit close at the top of his swing, and then he tries to come over it and tries to fix it. Sometimes if he doesn't match it completely right, then he might get that big, sharp pull hook left shot. Okay, so that for Cameron would be the worst shot that he could play. Okay, so that means he's coming over it with a closed club face. So that's the only thing with Cameron, is that once he cleans it up a little bit, now I'm not going to say that he should clean up the top of his swing because it's worked so well. He's able to match. He's able to basically, I shouldn't say match it, he's able to compensate really well in the downswing, and it's replicable because he does it all the time and his rhythm's unbelievable. But that's the only thing that can sometimes probably cause a little bit of grief every now and then, is if maybe he gets a bit tired and he pulls it a bit too much and pull hooks it. All right, so here you can see he's really trying to come over it to try and create the fade. Now he comes over to the ball. Yep, so he's pretty much square on here, so he's trying to come across it. Great rotation. I mean, that's really fantastic rotation through the ball. He's swinging to the left. You can really see he's swinging to the left quite a lot here. Yeah. All right, it's fantastic. All right, awesome. So like I said before, I mean, there's all different types of swings, okay? But the biggest things that you'll see is that a common trend will always be the first position. You'll see every elite player trying to get that club face either in a straight line at the first position or the club head slightly forward of the hands, okay? Then on the way down, like with Cameron, like I said before, he gets a little bit across the line, a bit steep with the left arm. Then he tries to steepen it out on the way down to try and compensate, tries to come across it. This three here, though, is very elite, very, very elite status, okay? So he's got his left hip, his glutes way back. He's rotating really well, great spine angles. So he's a fantastic ball striker, as we've seen. All right, guys, so thank you very much again. Tune in next time, and I'll decipher some more Tour Pro swings.